early April 2026. Anthropic does something no one in the AI industry has done in nearly 7 years. The company unveils its most powerful model ever trained, and announces in the same sentence that you won't be able to use it. Internal codename Capybara. Official name Claude Mythos Preview. Score on the industry's most closely watched benchmark? 93.9%, compared to 80% for just about everyone else. And in a matter of weeks, this model single-handedly found a bug in OpenBSD that had been dormant for 27 years. So the real question is this: are we looking at the model that will change global cybersecurity, or the best marketing stunt of the year? I propose we sort this all out, benchmark by benchmark, risk by risk, without unnecessary hype and without downplaying anything either. Here we go. A quick context check so we're all on the same page. Anthropic is the AI lab founded by former OpenAI employees, known for Claude, its family of models that competes with ChatGPT and Gemini. This family is traditionally structured into 3 sizes: Haiku, the small and fast one, Sonnet, the balanced one, and Opus, the most powerful model. In February 2026, Anthropic released Opus 4.6, followed by Sonnet 4.6. Everyone assumed the next step would be Opus 5. Except here's what happened. On March 26, 2026, a misconfigured CMS at Anthropic leaks a blog draft. In this draft, a strange name, Capybara, and a sentence that raises eyebrows. A new tier of models, bigger and smarter than our Opus models. 12 days later, on April 7th, Anthropic makes it official. This model is called Claude Mythos Preview. It's not public. It's reserved for a select few partners. And 9 days after that, on April 16th, the company releases Opus 4.7, an improved version of Opus, but deliberately restricted in terms of cybersecurity. 3 announcements, 3 weeks. This isn't a coincidence. It's a strategy. We'll figure out what it is. Let's start with the numbers, because they're at the heart of the story. In AI, a benchmark is simply a standardized test that all models undergo so they can be compared. First test, SWE-Bench Verified. Here, the model is given real bugs from GitHub open source projects and asked to fix them. It's the equivalent of putting a developer in a real-world maintenance scenario. Mythos, 93.9%. Opus 4.6, 80.8%. Opus 4.7, 87.6%. OpenAI's GPT 5.4, around 84%. Google's Gemini 3.1 Pro, around 80%. A 13-point gap with Opus 4.6. That's huge. For comparison, the gap between GPT-4 and GPT-4o at the time was only 5 points. Second test, SWE-Bench Pro. Same concept, but with harder problems, closer to the daily reality of an engineer in the corporate world. Mythos, 77.8%. Opus 4.6, 53.4%. GPT 5.4, 57.7%. Here we're talking about a 20-point lead. That's generational. Third, Terminal Bench 2.0. We give the model a Linux terminal and ask it to execute a series of commands to achieve a goal. Install a package, analyze logs, repair a server. Basically, we're testing its ability to be an autonomous DevOps engineer. Mythos, 82%. Opus 4.6, 65.4%. Fourth, USAMO 2026, the U.S. Mathematical Olympiad. Proof-based problems that make the country's top students sweat. Mythos, 97.6%. Opus 4.6, 42.3%. A 55-point gap. 55. GPT 5.4 is at 95.2%. Gemini 3.1 Pro at 74.4%. As for Chinese models, Zhipu's GLM5 and Moonshot's Kimi K 2.5, they hover around 72 to 76% on SWE-Bench Verified. Very solid, but clearly behind. So yes, you have to take these numbers with a grain of salt. These are tests, not real life. But when the UK's AI Security Institute,
the public evaluation body, retests Mythos under real-world conditions, it confirms this is indeed a leap forward, not a benchmark illusion.
Now, the real issue that interests Anthropic and is causing panic in Washington: cybersecurity. According to Anthropic, Mythos has independently identified thousands of high or critical severity vulnerabilities in absolutely every major operating system: Windows, Mac OS, Linux, BSD. In every major browser: Chrome, Firefox, Safari. And not just recent bugs. Mythos found a bug in OpenBSD, a system reputed to be ultra-secure, that had gone unnoticed for 27 years. A flaw in FFmpeg that had been dormant for 16 years. A 0-day in FreeBSD allowing root access via NFS, dubbed CVE-2026-4747. A 0-day is a vulnerability unknown to the software's developers, and therefore unpatched, meaning it can be exploited silently. It's the holy grail for an attacker. The most advanced nations and criminal groups discover a few each year, with teams of 20 people working on them for months. Mythos finds thousands of them, all on its own, in just a few weeks. And it's not just about finding them. The model is capable of chaining together the stages of a complex intrusion: reconnaissance, exploitation, privilege escalation, and lateral movement. On an internal cybersecurity benchmark called SWE-Bench, which contains 35 professional-level challenges, Mythos succeeds at 100% of the challenges. The UK's AI Security Institute, for its part, runs multi-stage attack simulations on corporate networks. For the first time, a model has carried out an end-to-end attack that would have taken a professional human several days to complete. That's why Anthropic has classified Mythos as ASL3+. ASL is Anthropic's in-house scale, their responsible scaling policy. The higher the level, the more serious the risk is considered. ASL3 is potential catastrophic risk. At this stage, internal policy dictates we isolate it. Hence the idea behind Project Glasswing, announced on April 7th alongside Mythos. The idea is simple. Instead of releasing the model via the public API, Anthropic is opening it exclusively to 12 founding partners and approximately 40 additional organizations, all of which manage critical software infrastructure. On the list, Amazon Web Services, Apple, Broadcom, Cisco, CrowdStrike, Google, JP Morgan Chase, the Linux Foundation, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Palo Alto Networks. Anthropic is putting $100 million in usage credits and $4 million in donations toward open-source security on the table. The goal? For these partners to use Mythos exclusively for defense, scanning their own code bases, finding their own vulnerabilities, patching them, and running this cycle well before an attacker gets their hands on the same capabilities. That's where Opus 4.7 comes in, launching on April 16th. Opus 4.7 incorporates many of Mythos's advancements: vision, coding, reasoning. But Anthropic has intentionally reduced its cyber capabilities during training, using a technique they call differential training. Basically, keep the good, remove some of the dangerous. Opus 4.7 is being released publicly, but with automatic safeguards that detect and block requests intended for offensive use. This is exactly the dual strategy. Claude accessible equals safe. Mythos defensive equals locked away. In practical terms, what does this mean for you? If you're a developer, nothing right away. You'll probably never have access to Mythos. But Opus 4.7 inherits many of the benefits, and you'll notice the difference when refactoring large code bases or debugging big projects. If you're an entrepreneur or executive, the question is no longer, should I use AI? But am I securing my systems before anyone gets a Mythos-like system? AI-assisted security audits are becoming a necessity, not a luxury. If you're a creator, Mythos is a signal, not a tool. It tells you where the models you'll be using in 12 to 24 months are headed. Autonomous agents that manage a complete workflow without supervision are on their way. If you're in cybersecurity, your job isn't going away. It's stepping up a notch. Finding bugs becomes the AI's job. Prioritizing, understanding the business, governing, patching quickly. That's still you. If you're an attacker, direct access is denied. But know that in 18 to 24 months, open-weight models will approach these capabilities. The window for defensive preparation is now. And for big investors and tech giants, those in Glasswing are gaining a security lead that's hard to catch up to. A new market is taking shape, AI-enhanced cybersecurity, with orchestration platforms, defensive fine-tuning specialists, and next-generation DevSecOps. So, where does this leave us? Mythos is neither the end of the world nor empty hype. It's the first concrete sign that the race for large models is changing in nature. For 2 years, we've been fighting over who has the biggest benchmark. Now the real question becomes, who best controls the risks of what they're building? It's a strategic shift. Anthropic is forcing OpenAI, Google, and Chinese labs to publicly align themselves on the same front. And whether it's out of conviction, marketing strategy, or both, it doesn't matter. The net result is good for everyone. A massive patch cycle is beginning now, before these same capabilities become accessible to everyone. The real show isn't in Mythos. It's in what's going to happen over the next 24 months. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Anthropic is right to restrict access to Mythos? Or should they have opened it up so that advocates around the world could use it? I read all your comments. This is the kind of discussion that fuels our upcoming videos. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of analysis. Accessing these models is one thing. Running them in production is a whole other story. Every developer, every startup, every creator building on AI eventually hits the same wall. Managing multiple APIs, handling GPUs, rollbacks, observability, and data residency. That's why we're building Gamma Cloud, an AI inference PaaS that combines model routing, fine-tuning, deployment, observability, and instant rollback. The waitlist is open. Link in the description. Click, sign up, and we'll see you on the other side.